Yes, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you, sir. We will wait for a few more minutes, sir. The
Okay, ma'am.
participants to join.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, Ilamariji sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Sir, good afternoon, sir.
How are you, sir?
I'm fine, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you for joining.
Okay.
So I think our dean sir in this is on another meeting, sir.
Okay, sir.
So he will join June, and then our staff members are joining one by one, sir. So we will start the session within 5 to 10 minutes, sir.
Okay, sir. No problem, sir.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Sudha madam. Sudha madam.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Sir, Vilambarji sir. Hello sir.
Yes, sir.
Shall we start sir? Shall we start?
Yes, sir. Okay, sir. I'm ready.
Yes. Madam, please proceed.
Yeah, yes, sir. Education is the process of facilitating learning, skills, values, morals, beliefs, habits, and personal development. Education is originated as transmission of cultural heritage from one generation to the next. Today, educational goal increasingly encompass new ideas such as liberation of learners, critical thinking about presented information, skills needed for the modern society, empathy, and complex vocational skills. Wishing you all a very happy and good afternoon. It is indeed my pleasure to welcome you all on behalf of SRM Institute of Science and Technology for the 3 days online workshop on curriculum design with choice-based credit system and framework for outcome-based education organized by the Department of Computer Science and Applications. Now, I would like to invite our Honorable Vice Principal Admin, SMH, to deliver the welcome address. Please, sir.
Thank you, madam. So, good afternoon, one and all present here. First, I extend a cordial welcome to you all to this 3 days online workshop on curriculum design with choice-based credit systems and framework for outcome-based education. First, I would like to extend my hearty welcome to our chief guest, Dr. M. Vilambaradi, Professor and Director, EduPass E-Academy Foundation. Thank you, sir. Thank you for joining today. And it is my great pleasure and privilege for me to welcome our beloved Dean of Science and Humanities. So, sir is attending another meeting, so he will join very soon. And I'm very happy to welcome our beloved Vice Principal Academic to this wonderful session. And I would like to welcome the coordinators of the event, Dr. Sudha Madam, HODs and faculty members of SRM IST Ramapuram campus. So dear participants, as per advised by UGC, we are following the choice-based credit system, the CBCS and the framework for outcome-based education in the recent curriculum and regulations. So this curriculum design focuses on the creation of the overall course blueprint and mapping content to learning objective, including the how to develop a course outline and build the course. So every faculty members and students should know and should aware about the course contents and then course subjects and also the different types of the mapping functions. So coming to OBE, it is a flexible empowerment approach to learning, and it aims at equipments of the learners with the knowledge, competence, and orientations needed for the success, as well as what students are expected to know and what they are be able to do. So there is the what skills and knowledge they need to have after the leave the institution. So these concepts are more important and very important parameters in the getting the accreditation from the NAC and NBA. So recently we are conducting a lot of workshop and seminars in this area. So today's guest has very much knowledge in this area, and he will explain clearly about this. And I'm sure that this workshop will be an eye-opening session for you all. So once again, I welcome you all to this wonderful session. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your warm welcome address. Now, I would like to invite our Honorable Vice Principal Academic, SMH, to deliver the felicitation address. Please, sir.
Very good afternoon, madam. Thank you, madam. Thank you very much. Our beloved Dean sir, respected Vice Principal Administration, respected the guests for the day, and my dear faculty members, participants, very good afternoon, one and all present here. The agencies are authorities in the higher education institutions all over the world. Talking from starting from this UNESCO, World Bank, or World Economic Forum, or any other higher educational institutions and the authorities dealing with these higher education institutions is clearly expecting that every graduates coming out of the higher education institution must have this expected outcomes, the learning outcomes in terms of graduate attributes. So in this connection, this outcome-based education using this Bloom's taxonomy plays a vital role on today's educational context. Whatever the even for this accreditation or NIRF ranking, whatever the if you generally talking about the quality of education. So outcome-based education can be defined is a approach to this. One second. This outcome-based education is a decision about the curriculum, how the graduates coming out of the higher education institutions, they possess this knowledge, skills, attributes, values, attitude, everything in terms of this learning outcomes people bringing into this system. That so outcome-based education emphasizes on what is expected from the students to finally achieve when they complete their course or program, rather than how they achieved it. The outcome-based education never bothered about this teaching learning process, but they only it emphasizes more on this outcome, only on that. So if you want to identify this, what is the outcome we are talking about, that there are 4 questions we need to ask. One is this: what do you want the students to learn, and why do you want them to learn it? How can you best help students to learn it, and how will you know what they have learned? If you answer these 4 questions, definitely you can able to write our learning outcomes and learning objectives on that. Coming to this Bloom's taxonomy, most of the people are always wondering this, who is this Bloom? This Benjamin Bloom, basically an educational psychologist. His contribution to this society or the world of education, 2 major contributions. One is this classification of educational objectives, and another is a theory of mastery learning. His work on classification of educational objectives was published in the year of 1953 in terms of this taxonomy of educational objectives. How people are learning that process. He has done a lot of research and finally come out with this taxonomy of educational objectives. His original work was translated to more than 100 languages, almost every educational institutions, right from the schools to the higher education institution, including the medical education, is successfully implemented using this Bloom's taxonomy on that. Of course, after some years, his own students, Anderson and Krathwohl, wanted to verify whether this original Bloom's taxonomy still worth practicing in educational institutions. So they did a lot of research on that, and finally, in the year of 2001, they come up with a slight modification with original taxonomy of educational objectives, and they published a book on this, a taxonomy for learning, teaching, and assessing. Whereas this original taxonomy released by Benjamin Bloom has only one dimension, whereas this revised Bloom's taxonomy have 2 dimensions, of course, based upon this cognitive knowledge dimension and cognitive process dimension. Based upon this cognitive process dimension only, the six different thinking levels, we as a teacher or educational institution, we try to implement using this outcome-based educations. So what is the level of thinking process we want to impart among our students on a particular topic in the subject, in the curriculum, in the syllabus? Yes, we need to write it. We have to identify, then we can call it as this learning objectives or learning outcomes. How? Yes, in a big deal on this, writing from this program educational objectives to how we are going to connect with specific instructional objective to your program educational objectives. Yes, is a great things, but the experts on this field for the next 3 days, they are going to discuss about that. So I request all the participants make use of this excellent opportunity to understand what is outcome-based education, what is this learning objectives, what is learning outcomes, how we are going to connect this learning outcome with this program educational objectives, and finally, how we are going to mapping with your mission, vision, and core values of the educational institution, and mission, vision, core values of your department, how we are going to connect this. So thank you very much for this opportunity. I also eagerly waiting to learn how this learning outcomes is connecting with your mission of the institutions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable address. Now, I would like to invite Mr. N. Krishnamurthy, Assistant Professor, MCA, to introduce our chief guest. Please, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you. So very good afternoon to one and all gathered here for this wonderful function. I feel proud and privileged bestowed on my shoulders to introduce the chief guest of today's function. Of course, the profile what I have received is having rich content that goes up to 20 pages. Let me try to bring out everything in my introduction. Dr. Ilambardi has concluded his PhD in computer science in Bharatiya University. He is having MPhil and MCA. He has got excellent track record during his academic, and his area of academic interest include object-oriented programming, DBMS, and web technology. And his philosophy thesis is based on relational databases, and he has responsibilities as he has worked in various capacities, and he is currently the director academic in Kamalam College of Arts and Science, and he has been working as principal for SMS College of Arts and Science for 17 months, and along with various other capacities. During his 17 months of principal, he has done a lot of activities, and he has taken a lot of efforts to provide knowledge to the students by means of associating with MSME, providing signing MOU with various industries, and designing curriculum and introduction of scholarship for these students who are benefited. And he has acquired skill set implementing national educational policy that is related to multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary, academic bank credits, skill development, and he has also been done by focusing on outcome-based education. And he was also contributed towards distance education and online education. In the capacity of associate professors, he has taken lot of subjects starting from data structures that goes up to mobile application development. And he has experience in administration like director IQAC, and is the coordinator of UGC grant and extension of autonomy process. He was responsible as a coordinator of outcome-based education and is the coordinator of curriculum development cell. Beside this, he was also the coordinator of ISO 9000 certification process. He is the coordinator of AICT web portal administration, and he was also the nodal officer of All India Survey of Technical Education. And he was the coordinator for Center for Entrepreneurship Development. Adding to that, he was the coordinator for National Institutional Ranking Frame NIRF, and he was the coordinator for Swayam NAPTEL local chapter, and he was the coordinator for developing and implementing e-governance by means of ERP softwares. He has also coordinated the digital learning module, that is DLMC. He was the coordinator of MCA student association activities. With this brief introduction, let me invite the chief guest of today's function to present this session. Thank you, sir. Now the forum is yours.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So next, good afternoon to all. I am going to, before going to the presentation of 3-day online workshop on outcome-based education, I have to give some inaugural address of this workshop. So good afternoon to all. I thank the management, dean, principal of science and humanities, vice principal of academics, and vice principal administration, as well as head the department of MCA of Saram Institute of Science and Technology for giving me this wonderful opportunity to rendering the inaugural address of this auspicious occasions. Very warm welcome to all learned professors of SRM Institutions of Science and Technology. I feel extremely happy in providing the inaugural address for these 3 days online workshop on curriculum design with choice-based credit system and framework for outcome-based education. So being the need of the hour, SRM Institute of Science and Technology has rightly organizing the outcome-based education workshop, which supports the stakeholders of SRM to tune the quality of curriculum and its framework based on multidisciplinary mode as initiatives already given by the National Education Policy, by the MHRD. So it will be implemented for the forthcoming years. Children are the futures of tomorrow. All these students we witness today receiving honors for their student talents will grow up to be the responsible citizen of tomorrow with highest human values. In student community, there are more number of first generations learners, their psychological, economical, and family condition have to be considered to the need for paradigm change in the present academic system in order to cater to the need of learners from different backgrounds. In the globalized environment, with the competitive world, change alone is the only constant today, even in education sector. To sustain and compete in the industry-ready state, today, University Grant Commission plans for a top-down approach in the academic to improve the academic standards. Already, the National Board of Accreditation has unequivocally stated that no outcome-based educations, no accreditations in the SLS curriculum design as well as teaching learning process. In the general education stream, the National Assessment and Accreditation Council has also initiated the process of outcome-based educations. So to implementing the outcome-based education in the higher education institution and to have a transformative approach in teaching and learning, the behavior traits of the teachers can create a deep impact on the students. Students prefer teachers than machine will deliver lecture through artificial intelligence. Machine can give knowledge, but only teacher can cater to their IQ. So teachers should have to concentrate on the practical knowledge. The role of the faculty adopts into instructor, trainer, facilitator, and or mentor based on the outcomes targeted. Students will understand what is expected of them and teachers will know what they need to teach during the course. OBE is meant to be a student-centered learning model. Teachers are also instructors who should facilitate the students' learning. And finally, I hope on successful completion of this outcome-based education workshop, all the stakeholders of the SRM institutions, such as students, parents, institutions, employers, and government, not only to improve the employability of the graduates, but also to tap the huge global opportunities for the great graduates' talents. Once again, thank you all for giving this opportunity. Thank you very much. Now I can start my presentations. I mean, can I start?
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is now the 3 days online workshop on curriculum design with the choice-based credit system and framework of outcome-based education syllabus, which comprises of Bloom's taxonomy levels, assessment patterns, rubrics, and attainment of outcomes. I have already gone through your curriculum. We have already implemented outcome-based educations. OBE had some kind of nomenclature, but SRM has prepared some kind of with the different nomenclatures for learning objectives and learning outcomes. But what are the same we'll have in the presentations. So this is my agenda. The first part is introduction to outcome-based educations. What is traditional education systems, and then a history of outcome-based education. Why we need outcome-based education, then what is the definitions of outcome-based educations? What is the role of outcome-based education in the accreditation part? The second part is outcome-based education versus Industry 4.0. So what is the actual game or actual scene is going behind the outcome-based in the Industry 4.0? We should to understand that why we need outcome-based education, because all the capitalist of the industry is insisted to the MHRD department. MHRD is instituted to the higher education department. So we got outcome-based educations. So what is the drawback of our traditional education system? Why the industries are not accepting the traditional education system? That will deal the outcome-based education versus Industry 4.0 section. The third section, outcome-based education framework. So we have to define the program educational objectives, program outcomes, course outcomes, and etc. etc. And the fourth section, I'm going to dealing with the OBE curriculum structure. What are the core courses, credits, preamble, prerequisites as per the UGC guidelines. The final section is simulation study. Why I'm taking for the simulation study is here outcome-based education is a technical part. This is pure conceptual oriented concept which has been implemented in all the higher education institutions. So now our audience having the science and humanities and MCA professors, as well as MBA management professors, Tamil, English, mathematics, chemistry, physics, all are there. So I'm choosing for simulation study. I'm going to implementing the outcome-based education curriculum structure, and then outcome-based education framework, and then outcomes at attainment assessment pattern, then attainment for the grade 3. Grade 3 is nothing but a third standard. So I'm going to implementing the outcome-based education to the third standard. Okay, so then only we can understand. We all understand what is the meaning of outcome-based education, because we are all across the third standard. So we can easily understand. So that's why I'm taking for simulation study for third standard. So how we are going to giving the OBE approach, how we are defining the program education objectives for grade 3 students, how we are going to defining the program outcomes and course outcomes for grade 3 students, how the course outcomes and program outcomes mapping for the particular grade 3 students, then how we can designing the outcome-based education syllabus for the grade 3 students. So quite interesting, then we will see that. Now, this is the introduction part. Outcome-based education is nothing but this is an education system based on the results. So what we are going to designing in any outcome, which can be recordable and it can be proved by some documents, whether the students had got particular skills, which we thought, what are we going to teach, whether he can acquire the particular skills or not. So we need recordical evidence. We need the proof whether the students attained or not. So that is, we can call it as outcome-based education. It's an approach that concentrates and organizes an education system in order to know the value and achieving the desired skill level. So in internet by the MHRD and UGC, NAC, all are giving the some of definitions about the outcome-based educations, but we may easily understand by seeing this definition. This definition states that the outcome-based education is a process that involves assessment and evaluation practices in education to reflect the attainment of expected learning and showing mastery in the programming area. So whether particular students has properly attained what we can test or test. So that is the definitions of outcome-based educations. And this is the comparisons of traditional education system. Now the outcome-based education, the below blue color shadow process will treated as a traditional education system. Then the green color process will take it as a outcome-based education. The middle process is the same process which we have already followed. We are designing the curriculum, the planning and designing. After that, we are going to teaching process. Then finally, we'll have an assessment based on and we will produce some outcomes. In the traditional education system, what we have in the past years, same curriculum is passed from the previous generation to the next generation. The curriculum won't change. Keep on statistics. We are not going to change any curriculum. So the same curriculum is passed from the previous generation to the next generation. Teachers are focused on completing the syllabus, most concentrating only for completing the syllabus by the end of the session. And finally, students' knowledge is assessed by the written examinations, or based on the written examinations, we are giving the grades or CGPA or percentages of the marks. So this is the classical one. Now, in the scenario of outcome-based education, curriculum is planned and designed according to the needs of today's students as well as the industry expectations. Now we are in Industry 4.0. We meet the requirements of the Industry 4.0. The curriculum is keep on changing every year. We are going to changing. Some of the institutions are changing the every 6 months of the from academic year. Teachers are focused on helping the students develop a new skills. So here, the outcome-based education, our role is, it's not a teacher role. We are the facilitated students to getting the proper attainment. Student knowledge assessment is done on the levels that track their learnings and skills, rather than the obtaining the grades or pass percentages, etc. This is a history of outcome-based education. Yearly, the Washington Accord is the authorized body for giving, for designing the outcome-based education curriculum structures. It's an international accreditation agreement for professional engineering academic degrees between the bodies responsible for accreditations in its signatory countries. It was established in 1989. Even Indian Institute of Technology, Indian Institute of IMA, all are having the outcome-based education in the different structures. That's not exact outcome-based education. Even 1989 itself, IIT having the Bloom's-oriented, taxonomy-oriented teaching learning process. So the Washington Accords covers undergraduate engineering degree under the OBE approach. The following are the signatory accreditation bodies of the Washington Accord, their respective countries and territories. In 1989, 5 countries were signed: Australia, Canada, Ireland, New Zealand, the United Kingdom, and within the brackets there is a university names that they are signed in the Washington Accord. In the 1995, Hong Kong is signed, 1999, South Africa, 2005, Japan, 2006, Singapore, 7, Korea, and the same year, 7, Chinese and Taipei. And 2009, Malaysia has signed. 2011, Turkey has been signed. 2012, Russia has also involved for education OBE. Recently, 2014, National Board of Accreditations of our India has signed the with the Washington Accord for implementing the outcome-based education. In the same year, our neighbor country, Sri Lanka, also signed the outcome-based education framework. Now, coming to the accreditations, this is very important. OBE is now as a part of the accreditations. With the local accreditation body, NBA heavily focusing on the adoption of outcome-based education approach for all engineering programs in India from the 2014 onwards. Then NAC, recently NAC also insisted for all the arts and science and education programs from 2018 onwards. So the Washington Accord agreement that establishes the equivalence of other countries' accredited professional engineering programs. Initially, it was implemented only for the engineering programs. Later year in 2018, after the 2018, all the higher education institution in India has followed the outcome-based education. There is no authorized bodies available for designing the curriculum and OBE structure for arts and science, health sciences, humanities, and for education programs. We don't have any authorized bodies. Every higher education institution, even if it is an autonomous, they have to think over that. So getting the guidelines from the National Board of Accreditation, they have to design their own outcome-based education approach to their concerned higher education institutions. So accredited graduates are recognized by their signatory countries, possibly employment as engineers in those countries without further examinations. Programs to be accredited from 2014 for all the engineering institution, then will have to be based on outcome-based education. Now that after the 2018, all the higher education institutions will be accredited based on the outcome-based education approaches. And finally, this is a Taraga mantra. Hereafter, no outcome-based education. We don't have accreditations. Now, coming to the principal question, why we are adopting the outcome-based education. So everybody is asking the questions because this much of conceptual-oriented approach or framework is insisted to every higher education student to follow and implement it in forthcoming years. So why we need outcome-based education is what courses did you study to obtain your degree, but rather than what can you do now that you have to obtain your degree. So this is the process. This is the practices we should follow it, rather than what course did you study to obtain. This is a classical type of education system. Now, what can you do now that you have obtained your degree? This is outcome-based education degree. Given the ranking to the students compared to each other, students become exam-oriented or CGP-oriented. So there are so many problems for learning methods in the traditional education system. That's why we are focusing on outcome-based education. Now we can see this slide. This is an industry 4.0. This is only for traditional education system low. Before adopting the outcome-based education, what is the practice we have followed this? For example, in higher education system, any higher education institution in India, they are offering, for example, BSc, any discipline, BSc Computer Science or BCom, BA Economics or any discipline. So we have a curriculum for BSc program. It may be on from affiliated university or it may be on an autonomous university. So we have conducted teaching, learning and evaluation process. We will producing the graduates after completing the examination, final year examinations. We will producing the graduates. After the producing graduates, we will conducting the campus interview or on-campus interviews. After the interviews, they have shortlisted some graduates. Then industry is given the training for selected students, then it will be appointed to the industry 4.0 designation. So I'm calling as different designations available in the industry 4.0. This is a traditional way we are followed before outcome-based education. The problem is only 1% of graduates meet the requirements or expectations of the industry. That is the problem. Our Indian association, Indian capitalist, all the capitalists of the industries are approaching the MHRD, change the education system according to the requirements of the industry 4.0. So in overall India, we are getting only 1% of graduates. It's not involved in superior education system for IIT IIM. Except IIT IIM, other than higher education system only, I'm talking about the only 1% of graduates meet the records expectation of the field. So Indian government has decided to change the education system, and according to the requirements of the industry 4.0, they have approached the new education system for outcome-based education. Now you can see this slide. This is the outcome-based education loop mapping with industry 4.0 and above. Now very soon we are going to getting the industry 5.0 also. The same institution name, any national level higher education institution in India, that is the same program in the any kind of discipline. Now here we are teaching the outcome-based education curriculum framework and teaching, learning and evaluation part. We are producing the graduates with graduate attributes. That is the difference between the traditional education system and the outcome-based education. We are not producing the graduates alone. We are giving the graduates with graduate attributes. Each and every graduate having the graduate attributes, for take it as GA1, GA2 to GAN. Okay, this graduate attributes is framed or designed by the designations of the high industry 4.0. For example, data analytics or artificial intelligence or any trading sectors also. So for example, if you are data analyst, they for a particular designation data analyst, they are requiring for three to four kind of graduate attributes. So the graduate attributes means they're expecting the 3 to 4 kind of knowledge skill levels. So here skill levels are treated as a graduate attributes. So when you're producing the graduates with the designation to meet the requirements of the designation of the data analysis, easily it can be mapped that particular graduate easily placed in as a designation of data analyst in the industry 4.0. So that's why I mentioned that mapping the graduate attributes rather than graduates, rather than grades, percentage or CGPA. Hereafter, no industry can see your marks, your grades, your CGPA points. Every industry is looking your graduate attributes. What is your skill set with the formation of graduate attributes? So based on your graduate attributes only, the industry will take over the position to the, or taking the placement to the particular designations. So each and every autonomous institutions following the outcome-based education, they have to prepare a separate sheet for graduate attributes with the course attainment levels with the graduate attributes. It has to be enclosed in your mock statement, and that will be produced to the at the time of placement. So the controller of examinations, keep in mind that you have to create a separate statement for graduates attributes with attainment. So that will be enclosed in the your statement of mark. And next. At the same industry 4.0, the 1978 for the revelation of the first industry 1.0 has been started. In the 1870s, industry 2.0. In 1969 is industry 3.0. Now, after the 1969 to now, the 2022, we are in the industry 4.0. So 1784 to 1969, so we followed the traditional rule. So that is the Macaulay system has been implemented, has been followed. Group law, from the group law to Macaulay system, we have followed up to 2014. After the 2014, we have implemented outcome-based educations. We are not fully erased the traditional education system, slowly adopting the outcome-based education. So industry thinking that the traditional teaching, learning, and evaluation will not help for the industry 4.0 model. That is the main reason all the universities and colleges moving towards the outcome-based educations. And this is the outcome-based education implementation. This is the framework. Okay, the same matter has been incorporated. Institution name is national level higher education institution, any kind of branch or any kind of UG or PG programs. We are going to teaching outcome-based education curriculum framework with the teaching and learning and evaluations. Inside the framework, we are preparing the courses and with course outcomes. And based on the program, we are preparing the program outcomes. So based on the program outcomes, we have to defining for program education objectives. Program education objectives is based on vision and mission of the your institutions. Now in this presentation, I'm not going to deal with vision and mission of the institutions because very soon we are going to implementing the national education policies. Each and every higher education institution in the position to changing the vision and missions, because very soon we are all the institutions must be is converted into multidisciplinary institutions. Hereafter, we don't have arts college, we don't have science colleges, we don't have medicine college, we don't have engineering colleges. We'll be having the multidisciplinary institutions. So we are in the position to change our vision and missions, because being an arts and science, when it was started, they having some vision and missions. So they had prepared for vision and missions. Now it has been changed. So I'm not going to deal with the vision and mission part. I'm going to dealing with on program education objectives, program outcomes, course outcomes. So these program education objectives can be defined by the input of stakeholders' feedback. Most of it has been collected from industry 4.0, the industries. So PO, it must be and will be on focusing on industry at what will be the process or development happen in the future industry at 2030. So we can keep in mind that. So then we have to define the program education objectives. So outcome-based educations this is the methodology. This is the framework for outcome-based educations. So the desired outcomes are determined first, and the program curriculum, teaching, learning, and methodology and supporting facilities are designed to the supporting the intended outcomes. So it is a method of curriculum designing and teaching that focuses on what students can actually do after they are taught. So the simple one, and at the same time, it's a conceptual one. And next one is, and this is a framework. How our outcome-based education framework will look like is. So initially, we should collect the feedbacks from employers, industry advisors, academic staff, advisory committees, public and parents, students, alumni. So after collecting the feedback, we have to analyze all kind of feedbacks. So based on the feedback, we have to designing our program educational objectives. Then we go to designing the program outcomes. Then we go to designing the course outcomes. Then we have to, based on the course outcomes, we go to preparing the course planning and delivery. We go to designing the syllabus. We go to take the classes for ICT tool enabled classes, and we should be involved in the learning. And finally, we should go for assessments. So the both process will be taken in this. From the right point in the assessment point, NAC and NBA autonomous institutional assessment, whether you have properly implemented outcome-based education, that kind of assessment will be taken in this. Your attainment of program outcomes has been involved in the assessment part and as well as accreditation part. Program assessment, then course assessment. So how the course assessment has been taken by the using of rubrics. So these are the terminology. Now you can understand only, you cannot properly understand because these are the conceptual oriented terminologies. After the simulation approach, when we are going for grade 3 standard OBE implementation, that time you may properly understand what you mean by program educational objectives, what you mean by program outcomes, and what you mean by course outcomes, or etc. etc. So is there any lack, whether you are not properly attained your outcomes, you can come back to the continuous quality improvements. You got to change again your program outcomes or course outcomes, or you can change the practices of your teaching and learning for attaining the better performance in the for the years. Now coming to the program educational objectives, the career and the professional accomplishments that for grade broad statements that describes is preparing graduates to achieve. So program educational objectives should be accessible and realistic within the context of the committed resources. So program educational objectives should be consistent with the mission and vision of your institution and your department. So all the stakeholders should participate in the process of framing the program educational objectives. Please keep in mind all the stakeholders, your alumni, your teacher, your parent, your industry purpose, your employers, everybody should involve for program education. Involving means you should collect the feedback from your stakeholders. After scrutinizing the feedback, you have to define your program educational objectives. The program educational objectives are reviewed periodically based on the feedback of the programs of various stakeholders. So that's why I explained already. The program objectives, most of the institution is not having the program objectives, but you are having the learning outcome, learning objectives. This is a broad statement. It can be broadly defined for the 5 counts. It may be on core competency, strong in fundamentals. It may be on breadth, comprehend, create, analyze, and design the problem. It may be on preparations, excel in competitive examinations, succeed in industry and technical professions. It may be on professionalism. It usually comprises for ethical attitude, communication skills, teamwork, multidisciplinary approach, ability to relate to the social context. So finally, it may be on learning environment, whether if it is academic environment, leadership, and lifelong learning needed for a successful professional careers. So defining objectives, and based on the objectives, we can defining the outcomes also. So there should be enough evidence and documentation to be show that achievement of program education objectives, program outcomes, and course outcomes. With the help of various assessment tools, I'm already told that we need proof document of attaining of your program outcomes as well as course outcomes. Rubrics we have to incorporate in the each and every assessment. I will tell you tomorrow we are going to dealing with the rubrics. What are the rubrics are available for this simulation study? Grade 3 also we are designing the rubrics, as well as we are defining some kind of rubrics models for computer science subjects. So tomorrow Dr. V. Anuradha will have clearly explained the rubrics model of different subjects. Scoring guides to evaluate the quality of the students, that is the rubrics, and evaluation methods also show that this continuous process leads to refinement or improvement of the program educational objectives. In outcome-based educations, the assessment task is very challenging one. That is, I already told you, this is very, very challenging task, assessment task, and a lot of clerical operations are involved in the assessment task. To avoid the clerical operations, we should concentrate of softwares. Lot of vendors are available, lot of software available in the market for a lot of assessment tools are available, or a lot of assessment tools incorporated in our ERP packages also. So we need to getting the help from the software tools for getting the assessment. So huge number of assessment tools and evaluation techniques are available in the market in the form of software for implementing the outcome-based educations. Now we can deal for now we can go for what is in graduate attributes. Please keep in mind this is 12 graduate attributes is given by the National Board of Accreditations, particularly designed for engineering disciplines. These 12 graduate attributes may not suitable for BA English, BA Tamil, or BA French, or any linguistic programs, or any history programs, geography program. It may not be suitable for it. But we have to taking the concept, we have to taking the essence from the this graduate attributes, and the particular department to sit together, do some brainstorming sessions. Then you have to designing your graduate attributes for your own program. Taking an example of arts programs, be a history or geography or etc. etc. So this is the basic guidelines is given by the National Board of Accreditations: knowledge, problem analysis, design, development of solutions, conduct investigations of complex problems, modern tool usage, the engineer and society, environment and sustainability, ethics, individual and teamwork, communication, project management, lifelong learning. Some of the parameter is suitable for all the programs because communication is very suitable graduate attributes to the all the programs, and lifelong learning is a common thing. It has been incorporated in the all your UG programs. Ethics also is a common terms. Problem analysis, it may not be happen in the BA Tamil or etc. So these are the basic guidelines. Whatever the graduate attributes you can choose it, you can build up, and keep in mind that you can design your own graduate attribute for your concern your program, which will programs is not available in your graduate attributes. Your course instructor has 100% rights to designing your own graduate attributes for your particular program. Then what is the role of faculty members while implementing the outcome-based education? So we need to review the program educational objectives, program outcomes, course outcomes, and the course structures and the syllabus and content and teaching plans and teaching equipments, all those things. So we got to teach relevant tutorials, references, and laboratory practical sessions. We should conduct a lot of, we have to ensure that ICT-oriented teaching process, we should give some e-resources links to the students for the particular content or for the particular topics and etc. So you have to give the appropriate guide on assignments and projects, and keep in mind that whatever you are taking the topic or any kind of you should follow the consent or corresponding rubrics with your topic or your teaching content. So conduct empirical measurements of the program outcomes, prepare a record documentation, examine the students whether the course outcomes have been attained or not, obtain and maintain the accreditations from the ESS through continuous quality improvement. So what is the role of the student while in case of outcome-based educations? So they must come prepared for each classes, contribute by teaching others, actively participating. That is very important. We have to give a lot of orientation program or sensitization program to students, because you are not in the traditional loop, you are in outcome-based education loop. You should concentrate on your teachings. We are at the facilitator, we are not teacher to teach something on this. You should involve all the activities. So participating, taking risks, learning from instructors, classmates, and etc. And ethics is very important. They should respect, trust, and openness, and committed to learning and for continual improvement. So these are the role of the student while implementing the outcome-based educations. What are the challenges for implementing the outcome-based educations? That is very, very important. How to frame the curriculum. Okay. Technical oriented courses very easy to frame the curriculum, but we go to designing the curriculum for BA Tamil. But it's very challenging task. How to set the course objectives and course outcomes, how to set program objectives and program outcomes, how to align the curriculum, how to prepare the assessment tool and program and course wise. While doing this, we have to take a lot of parameters. We have to consider from the stakeholder feedbacks. We should consider the MHRD guidelines. We should consider the NAC guidelines. We should consider the NBA guidelines. And we should consider the other higher education, NCW or etc. etc. So all the parameters should be considered. Designing the curriculum, it's not an easy task. Each and every chairman of the board of studies having a broad mind, and continuously they have to upgrade their skills while designing the curriculum. So based on the industry 4.0. So these are the challenging tasks for implementing outcome-based educations. Now, what are the advantages of outcome-based educations? To enhance the quality of teaching and learning process, to ensure that approval of new and existing programs, to ensure the accountability and quality assurance, to take responsibility for their own learning. Very important that to articulate the knowledge, to articulate the skills and experience acquired during the program. And on one more thing, it's a framework. It's not a guidelines. It's a framework for collaborative curriculum planning. So why I'm talking about the framework is it should be customized according to your institutions, according to your institution practices, according to your local community. Okay, so that's why I'm calling it as it's a framework. This is not uniqueness only. It's not a static environment. It's a dynamic environment. It is like a tool for evaluating and improving the curriculum, to encourage the continuation between the UG, PG, and other research programs and for continuous education systems. And very important, this is outcome-based education approach using the simulation model. Just forget all your previous things. What I'm saying is your nomenclatures, your programs and BA, BCom, BB. So forget all those things. Next 10 to 20 minutes, you should think of your SRM Institute of Technology is offering grade 3. Okay, so that standard program is available in your SRM Institute of Technologies. So we are going to developing for outcome-based education for the state standard program. Okay. Now, for taking the UGC guidelines, the core courses with the having of choice-based credit system, and as per UGC guidelines, we have to comprises for 3 disciplines. One is the language core courses. Language core courses for the grade 3 students, they may having the Tamil and other languages. If it is offered in Tamil Nadu, it will be Tamil is a mother tongue, so it's a compulsory subject. If it is CBSE or other board of education, so it may be on some other languages, French or etc. So we can treat it as a discipline. 1 is the language core courses. For grade 3, Tamil is mandatory. Discipline 2 and discipline specific course. Here, discipline specific course is mathematics for the grade 3 students. Discipline 3 is a discipline specific course is science. Science is comprising all botany, geology, or etc. For the grade 3, they are going to identify the animals, plants, or etc. etc. So that is in this. So SRM Institute of Technology is offering state standard. So we are going to creating a framework for outcome-based education for grade 3 students. So apart from that, we may offer ability enhancement courses and elective courses and generic electives, or etc. etc. Some other difference, we know bother about that. We need to concentrate only for language core courses, discipline specific courses, discipline specific courses. That is Tamil, mathematics, and science. So these are the subjects, these are the courses to teach for the grade 3 students. This is the OBE curriculum structure for grade 3 in your SRM Institute of Technologies. Now coming to the UGC nomenclature curriculum structures. Okay, discipline 1 is language core courses, that is Tamil. Discipline 2 is a mathematics. Discipline 3 is a science. Credits as well as I'm taking from the guidelines from the UGC. It's not mapping for it, but we should think for it. So language core courses is 8 credits. Discipline specific core courses is mathematics is 40 credits, and science is 36 credits. So totally, only for core courses we have 74 credits for it. So how we can defining the program outcomes for it? So now generally coming to the ability enhancement courses, we have an English skill enhancement courses, which will be taught in the it will be the framework of choice-based credit system, elective core courses, discipline-specific elective courses in the CBCS environment, generic electives which are also having the CBCS environment. So now you can calculate your program outcomes. How many program outcomes will be at this? So program outcomes is a discipline-wise credit, which will be divided by 140 and into 100. Example discipline 2. 40% of total credits, it is getting 3 program outcomes to be defined. So 12 program outcomes will be treated as 100%. Then 8% of credits, what will be the program outcomes, and for the 100% of total program outcomes, what will be the 40%, what will be the 36% as well. So at the same time, so discipline 2 and discipline 3, we will having a 3 program outcomes, 3 programs each. For ability enhancement courses, we have the program outcomes 1. This is only for the example only. According to our BA and BSc program, it can maybe varied. I think you properly implemented. I have gone through your syllabus of MCA as well as BCA syllabus. It was perfectly prepared. So with all the kind of credits. So I'm just giving for the examples for it. Coming to the choice-based credit system, that this thing can be, I cannot understand from your syllabus because when you are calling a choice-based credit system structure, now you can see this core courses, language courses maybe as it may be offer and choice-based credit system. And DSC core courses also maybe how it not possible in choice-based credit system. These are core courses, it is compulsory courses, which is 76 credits. In ability enhancement courses, ability enhancement compulsory courses are having the 8 credits. Whether if it is called as a compulsory, we cannot giving choices. And specific SEC courses, which will be having 16 credits, which will be offering in the choice-based credit system. And elective courses, domain-based electives maybe give the some in management area or in computer science area. So DSC courses are 20 credits. Generic elective courses are 12 credits. So this is your structure for your UG program, 140 credits. Coming to the OBE environment and CBCS languages courses, your COs and POs of Department of Languages must be incorporated in the UG program. Okay, so that program out can be because course outcomes and program outcomes can be defined by the Department of Languages, then it can be incorporated in your UG program, your BCA program or BSc Computer Science program. At the same time, CBCS skill enhancement courses, skill enhancement, do we have any vocational oriented departments? They are going to creating the course outcomes and program outcomes for offering their own SEC courses. Their program outcomes and course outcomes can be incorporated in your UG programs, and that will be come under the your 140 credits. And coming to the domain-based choice-based credit system and COs and POs of interdisciplinary departments, so they are preparing for course outcomes and program outcomes, their own department and their own courses. Whether your students, UG program students is opting the domain-based CBCS presence, that course outcomes then program outcomes can be incorporated in UG programs. I hope it has not been seen in your syllabus because it may be also questions from the autonomous visit as well as NAC visit. So this is very important because some of the institutions having course outcomes and program outcomes of Tamil is common to all the UG programs. Course outcomes and program outcomes of the French, it can be is incorporated into all the programs. So that will not be happen because whatever students opted for the courses, that courses outcomes based on the course outcomes, what we attain the program outcomes also can be acquired from the particular department, then incorporated in your their own 140 credits. So that is very important. Now coming to the OBE approach starts with the defining the outcomes that are required by the various stakeholders. Now coming left side, you can see that OBE approach, program educational objectives, the graduate should have after 5 years working in the industry. So PEOs, we have to define, we have to define the PEO statement. We have to keep in mind that this PEO will enabling the after the 5 years of after completing the program. Now, in our simulation study, the program is nothing but the third standard student, grade 3 students. Now, the PEO statement will be meeting when this particular students will be at 8th standard students. 8th standards, when you are studying in the 8th standards, your statement will be meet or not. So program educational objectives for the grade 3, at the grade 8, your statement is meeting the grade 8. Now you can see this PEO1, how I'm going to write in the statement for it. Keep in mind that whenever I'm taking the PEO1, you just keep in your programs or your courses. Whatever you are mastering your courses, whatever programs or courses are teaching present, you can think it about that. And now PEO1 is to provide students with fundamental practice in mother tongue language, will allow them to successfully read and speak in their own mother tongue languages. Yes, it is possible. At the grade of 8th, it may be definitely is possible. To provide students with fundamental practice in mother tongue language will allow them to successfully read and speak in their own mother tongue languages. And coming to the PEO2, to provide the students with a solid foundation in mathematics, which will allow them to successfully pursue the elementary school educations. Because after the 5 years, the grade 3 students will be in the 8th standard. So that is a we post-span elementary school to the high schools. So definitely we can give the statement for successfully pursuing the elementary school education, and we are teaching the mathematics subject. So for that, we may write the statements for provide the students with a solid foundation in mathematics, which will allow them to successfully pursue elementary school educations. And PEO3 to provide the students with a solid foundation in science, which will allow them to successfully pursue elementary school educations. So all the 3 statements is possible at the grade level 8th. Now you can think your courses, and now you can think your grade, how you are going to writing your PEOs and PEO2, PEO3. So that is very important, whether it must be possible. You can think yourself, and whatever things after the 5 years, how your students will be there. So this is the program educational objectives. Coming to the program outcomes. So program outcomes is, well, what is the definitions of OBE approach is desirable graduate attributes at the time of graduation. At the time of graduation, immediately after completion of the programs. So in our case study, in our simulation, immediately after the completion of 3rd standard, what will be the program outcomes after completion of grade 3? Now take it for PEO1. I am giving the graduate attribute 1, which will be take it as a knowledge. So what kind of knowledge here? Ability to effectively apply knowledge of mother tongue language or language core courses in real-time environments. So it will be happen after completion of grade 3. This is I'm taking it for graduate attributes 1. Now coming to the PEO2. Conduct investigate complex problems of that is treated as a graduate true. So we have to take ability to design and solve the arithmetic expressions with the fractional numbers, because I'm going to taking classes for basic mathematics. So I'm giving the program outcomes to conduct investigate of complex problems, ability to design and solve the arithmetic expression with problems with fractional numbers. So we are dealing with only for natural numbers. The students can able to having the arithmetical expression in fractional numbers also. That's why I'm giving the program outcomes 2 with the graduate attribute to conduct investigative complex problems. In the program outcomes 3, a modern tool usage. So ability to solve problems using abacus equipment. So using this abacus equipment, we have to deal the modern tool usages for this. So this is some program outcomes of a grade 3. Now coming to the structure of OBE syllabus for grade 3 students. So here the course outcomes I'm going to defining for it. Skill learned by the students after completion of the course. This is the structure of your grade 3 syllabus. We go to defining the code for it, then we go to defining the course name, then category, what is the whether if it is allied, core papers or nets, how many lecture hours we are going to take, 35 hours lecture hours, 10 hours tutorial hours, 5 hours will be the practical hours, and 4 is the credit. Now we have to defining about the preamble. What is the preamble for this basic mathematics course? This course aims at facilitating the student to understand the steps involved in adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing, as well as the order of operations. So this is the preamble of this basic mathematics. Prerequisite, when you're going to study, when the students going to studying the basic mathematics at the level of grade 3, they must have the formation of numbers at grade 3 level. So if they are not having any formation of numbers, that they don't have knowledge for in basic mathematics. If doesn't they have, then we have to conduct any bridge courses for the formation of numbers. We should, after that only we have to teach basic mathematics. Now coming to the course outcomes. So this will be treated as after completion of the course basic mathematics. On successful completion of this course, students will be able to, I am defining the 5 course outcomes. CO1 is know numbers and basic terminology. In the Bloom's taxonomy level, remember, you just noting down Bloom's taxonomy will deal for tomorrow. Course outcomes 1, know numbers and basic terminology with the Bloom's taxonomy level. Remember. CO2, understand the addition, subtraction, multiplication, and divisions in the level of understand. And course outcomes 3 is solve the addition and subtraction problems in the level of applying. Course outcome 4 is solve the multiplication problems in the level of applying. Course outcomes 5 is dealing the solve the division problems in the level of applying. Okay, so these are the course outcomes of grade 3, third standard students course outcomes. First one is know the numbers and basic terminology. Second one is addition, subtraction, multiplication, and divisions. And third one is addition, subtraction problems. And fourth one is solve the capacity, multiplication of problems. And fifth one is solve the division problems. Now we can think of your subject, how you are writing the course outcomes of your concern programs, concern course. Now coming to the CO-PO correlation mapping. I have to map this course outcomes with the program outcome 1. Here, program outcome 1 is ability to effectively apply knowledge of mother tongue language or language core courses in real-time environment. So this program outcome 1 cannot be correlated with the course outcomes 1 because program outcome 1 is dealing only for the language courses. But our course outcomes is dealing for the course outcomes has been defined for mathematics courses. So there is no correlations. So CO1, there is no correlation between PO1. CO1 to CO5, we don't have any correlations for program outcomes 1 because of that program outcomes 1 is dealing only for mother tongue languages. Then taking for consider for the program outcome 2, CO1, CO2, CO3, CO4, 5 is strongly correlated with PO2 because is directly is given the statement for ability to design the stall arithmetic expression with the fractional numbers. So yes, definitely we are going to strongly correlate it with it because our syllabus, our content, our teaching practices, everything is based on the program outcome 2. So directly we can strongly correlate it with program outcome 2. I will tell you why we are putting for strong, low, medium, why we are putting for 3, 1, and 2. So I will tell you for coming slides. Now taking for PO3, modern tool usage, ability to solve the problems using abacus equipments. Course outcomes and course outcomes of basic mathematics and program outcomes 3, there is a correlation, but low correlation. Why I'm putting for low correlation? Both are interrelated. We are having the formation of numbers, addition, subtractions in the abacus equipments. Yes, we can teach, students can able to do, but why I'm putting the low correlation is, now you can see this slide. Now you can see this slide. Abacus equipment is a practical classes. Okay, abacus equipment is a practical classes. I'm allotting only for 5 hours only. Totally 50 hours. I'm only for 10% of hour only for the practical classes. So here I'm giving only for 10% of classes for practicals. I cannot give the strong correlation to the program outcome 3. Because I'm taking only for 5 classes by using a Bob. That's why I'm giving there must be a correlation, but it's not a strong correlation. That is a low correlation because I given only for 5 hours for these practical classes. So that's why I'm giving the low correlations. So now you can think it out how the correlations mapping picking for this. You can take this grade 3, you can comparing with your courses while designing the curriculum, while designing the course, while doing the CO-PO mapping, how the correlation. A lot of institutions is taking a lot of confusion on this mapping the correlations between the COs and POs. Now we have to defining the value of the low, medium, and strong. We have to state some threshold value for the defining the low and medium and strong. I'm here, I'm declaring as a course instructor, I'm going to declaring the description for the low, medium, and strong. What is this low? Low is nothing but it will be symbolic representation. It will be the L. The value will be the mathematical value will be the 1. Why I'm giving the mathematical value 1? At the time of attainment, we have to do some calculations, we got to do some formula for it. So that's why we got to indicate it with the numerical value. Then only we can attaining the values for it. So description is for the low, 60% and above students scoring more than 50% of maximum mark in the relevant course outcomes. So I'm going to taking questions in the basic mathematics, which will be mapping in the course outcomes. After the examinations, 60% and above students scoring more than 50% of the course outcomes. Course outcomes there must be a 50 above the 50% students is taking for that will be treated as a low value. Now 65% and above students scoring more than 50% of maximum mark in the relevant CBCS. Now, for the strong correlations, 70% and above students scoring more than 50% of maximum marks in the relevant course outcomes. These are only for static values. These are only for the static values. Static values, it can be defined by the course instructor or chairman of the board of studies is discussing with the course instructor. So it is not compulsory defining the low value 60 and 65 and 75. But initially, while implementing the outcome-based education, the low value is suggested by the OBE experts at minimum 60%. Medium will be the 65%. Strong will be the 70%. While traveling through the outcome-based education in the long year, you slightly have to change the low value, medium value, strong value. By being the practices of the outcome-based educations. Now, coming to the course outcome attainment, how we are going to course outcome attainment? How, because each and every assessment in the all the institutions having the internal and external examinations. So, how much of percentage will take in the attainment levels for that? So, weightages of the internal examination we should take it for 40%. Weightage of the external examination for the 60%. For this grade 3, I'm designing like this. So you may have 50-50, or you may have 60-40, you may have 55-45, or any kind of attainment there. So that is according to your freedom and according to your rights. So course outcome attainment, weightages of internal examination 40%, weightages of external examinations. So based on this percentages only, I'm going to deriving the attainment calculations. Okay. Now, finally, I have to defining the syllabus for the basic mathematics syllabus. So this is the structure of the syllabus. I already you have you are also in your syllabus also you have mentioned like this. Unit 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5. The course contents. First unit will be the new numbers. Second will be the additions. Third unit will be the subtractions. Fourth unit will be the multiplication. Fifth unit will be the divisions. And each unit will having the 10 hours, totally 50 hours for. You have to give the textbooks for reference books. Learning methodology, you have to solve it because of NAC is always expecting this. What are the learning methods you are using for teaching your or soliciting your courses with your students? And what are the e-resources or e-content you are providing for supporting to your material for basic mathematics syllabus. So these 4 are very important: textbooks, reference books, learning methods, and the e-resource. I already gone through your syllabus. It was nice. You are perfectly defined and designed by your syllabus also. This is one observation I have done even our syllabus. Already everything is okay, but nomenclature is something different. But you have rights. You have to define your own nomenclatures. Now this is only for the comparison of OBE nomenclatures and SRM Institute of Science and Technology. Here OBE terminology, program educational objectives. You are also having the program educational objectives. OBE terminology, program outcomes. Now you will be having for programming learning outcomes. Here course objectives, you are talking about the course learning rationale. Then course outcomes, you have OB terminologies, course outcomes. In your syllabus, you are giving that course learning outcomes. Here OB terminologies, on successful completion of this course, students will be able to. Now you are writing like such as at the end of this course, the learners will be able to. So being an institute of technology in the form of a university, it's correct. It's not a dividend, but in my own and the flow of my presentations, I have used only for this kind of a terminology. You don't getting the confusions. Whenever I am talking about the program outcomes, in your terminology, that is a program learning outcomes. Whenever I'm talking about the course objectives, it will be the course learning rational. I'm talking about the course outcomes, it will be I use concept for course learning outcomes. So this is the nomenclatures between the OBE approach and your SRM Institute of Technologies. Now I stopped here, and you have any queries, you can ask me. And in continuation, and tomorrow we are going for Bloom's taxonomy, assessment, different assessment patterns. We are executing all those things. So then it will be dealt by the Dr. V. Narado. I am also be there. I will also give some added input to Dr. V. under the presentation also. Any questions? Do you have any questions? Put on the chat box.
Yes, respected participants, if you have any queries, you can raise now, or you please post us in the chat box.
Yeah, somebody is asking that difference between objectives and outcomes. So I'm already talking about, I already told you, no, objectives is your observe your vision. I think your designing is an objectives, but outcomes is a proof one. You have to submit your document proof for whether your objectives has been fulfilled or not. Your expectation is nothing but objectives, but outcomes is nothing but whether your objectives has been fulfilled or not by the students. That we need some practical evidence. So that is the difference between the objectives and outcomes. Your recordable evidence is not doesn't meet the requirements of your objectives. Your objectives is failed. You have to change your objectives. You can go for continuous quality improvement. You have to change your objectives once again. Then you can design some other outcomes for your concerned objectives. Thank you. And keep in mind that outcome is a recordable one. We need the proof document.
Is there any other queries from participants? Yes, sir. We got one more question. Can you please show the previous slide comparison?
Previous slide comparisons.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. Okay, right. Okay, sir. Shall we stop that is presentation? And now I am moving to the vote of thanks. It's a great privilege to propose the vote of thanks on behalf of Department of Computer Science and Applications, SRM Institute of Science and Technology, Ramapuram Campus, Chennai. I sincerely express my gratitude to the respected chief guest, Dr. M. Ilambaradhi sir, Professor and Director, EDU POS E-Academic Foundation, for being here with us today despite his busy schedule and deliver excellent presentation on curriculum design and OBE framework. During the session, participants are learn about introduction to OBE, OBE versus Industry 4.0, OBE framework, OBE curriculum structure, and simulation study. Thank you very much, sir, for your enlightening session. And thank you all the participants.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. The participants, please wait a minute. I post the feedback link in the chat box. Kindly, all of you fill the feedback. Yes, dear participants, I posted the feedback link in the chat box. Kindly fill the feedback link. Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your time spending with us. And we are eagerly waiting for 2 more days that the OBE workshop.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot.